Okay, part 3. So, after you get through the Nalbina dungeons, there's a fight. I guess it's still, well, after the first room of Nalbina dungeons. And for that, I didn't mention it, but you want to have your cursor on black magics. So you can instantly cast fire in this fight when you finish, like you want to have it the cursor on when you finish the fire main fight. Also, I forgot to mention that you should probably steal from fire main if if your guild is not very good. You just steal with Balfir until you get something. That's what I usually do. But yeah, you want this fight is a lot of execution. You first use fire with Vaughn, and then immediately tell Balfir to attack Gali or Dagusa. Then you tell Vaughn to use fire on the other one. That's not Dagusa, Galido. And after Balfir gets the second attack off, you want to make sure that Balfir gets both of these attacks off, because you need you need 2 attacks on fire to kill Dagusa, and Dagusa can parry. So if Dagusa parries, then you don't have enough damage, and you have to let Balfir to attack one more time before stealing. But you want to steal with Balfir from Dagusa. He can have either Potion, 200 Gil, or Phoenix Down. And once Vaughn has killed the second one, then just tell Vaughn to do another fire. And if Balfir doesn't steal anything, you can, if you are fast enough, you can get another steal off with Balfir here. So if the first one fails, you get a second try. Otherwise, you can set your cursor on white magics and turn Balfir's Gambits on if you want to. You can do it later as well. It's fine. But let's go through that fight in actually real time, because that one was a lot of pausing. So here's how it looks in real time. So as you can see, it's a lot of execution. Or, well, not a lot, but it's a decent bit. But at least you don't have to move while you do it, which is nice. But I like that fight a lot. It's fun little menuing, I guess. So after that fight, there's a cutscene skip, and then you run forward, and you actually start running before you can see anything. So just keep holding your analog stick forward to run there. And here is a chest that's a tourmaline ring. Tourmaline ring sells for 150 gil, so you want to pick that up because it's right here. And also, if you got to 10% where the elixir does not spawn in the palace, another chest will spawn here. That's also a Zodiac Spear chest, and that chest will contain 316 gil, which is also worth more than the Zodiac Spear is for the run. So you should pick that up as well if you didn't get the elixir. But it only spawns if you didn't get the elixir, which you should if you don't get unlucky. Either way, you want to, if you didn't have time at Dagusa, you want to turn Balfir's Gambits off or on, and Fran's Gambits on, or sorry, Fran's Gambits off, Balfir's on, and then set your cursor on white magics. Setting up the cursor is like, you don't have to do them right away, just as long as you do it at some point. And there was a cutscene skip, and now here's 2 cutscene skips. And this is actually the longest, probably the longest break between 2 cutscene skips. It's more than 20 seconds, so it's kind of ridiculously long. ridiculously long thing. But the 7-second works for the 7-second rule works for that as well. But might as well, like, if you're not, if you're, you don't have to start mashing start the next after 7 seconds for that one, if you can remember that it's the long one. But the rule works. But then after that, there you get Bosch into your party. Like, it gives you a notification that Bosch joins your party, and then immediately after that there's a cutscene skip. So there you can't reuse the 7-second rule. But there's the Bosch joining your party, which makes it easy to remember. And also the cutscene starts playing immediately, so... But yeah, here's a chest. It's always 777 gil. So always pick that up. And also these chests. These chests contain a random amount of gil from 1 to... as for this chest, it's 555, and for this chest, 333. And those were pretty bad rolls for those chests, as the average from those two chests is about... is 444, and that was about 140 gil, so that was pretty bad chests. Either way, the reason you want to have the cure... Hold on, I'll go back. Because there's a little bit of... There's two tricks here. So you want to use cure here to do a cure warp back to Vaughn. You want to actually use... Well, I'll show it you in... I'll show you in a bit. But you want to tell Vaughn to use cure. And as you can see, if I were to press X right now, I would just examine the power relay again. But what you can do instead is you can press square and then start pressing X. Like, square also opens the battle menu, but square does not interact with things like the power relay. So you can press X, or you can press square and then mash X, and it does the job. So that's to avoid doing that. And then immediately after you've done it, switch your leader to Balfir, and then use another cure with Vaughn. But the goal is to not let that cure ever get off. But the goal is to touch the power relay again before that cure gets in action. But before that, we need to get the tube fuse from Burrow here. So talk to him. And then you can't immediately swap back leaders. There's like sort of a cooldown where you can't just do it. You can mash the button, but it won't do anything. But in that time, I use Balfir and run to this corner. It's a very small detail, but that makes Fran get a little bit closer, and it also means that Balfir will not be blocking Fran when Fran needs to get from this switch to Burrow. But yeah, you switch to Vaughn in as soon as possible, and then press X. And I'm not sure what happened here in my PB. Like, for some reason I couldn't interact with the power relay, even though I was pressing X. I don't know why it opened the battle menu instead. It should have just pressing X there should have worked. But either way, that made the cure go into action. And here's how to deal with that. So I guess it's a good thing that I can show it to you now, but it wastes some time in my PB, so it's kind of annoying. But you can just go to equip and remove all and optimize to ATB reset Vaughn so that cure never gets off. It's a little bit faster to do it this way, and you save or even if it's not faster, it saves the 8 MP Vaughn would use for the second cure, so you should do that if Vaughn is about to get the cure off. And then you just interact with the switch, and then switch your leader back to Fran. And after using the switch with Fran, there's a shop where you want to buy the light woven shirt, which is you press R1 once and then go down. And you want to buy Blizzard, which is either 3 times R1 or 3 times L1 to get to magics, and then 3 down to buy Blizzard. And then you leave. And there's an unskippable cutscene here. The second one. This one's a little bit longer, and there's no... you don't have to press X between. I'll skip this one as well. It explains the charge mechanism. How it works is if you if the charge is below 50%, undead starts spawning. But yeah, you want to have your cursor on attack before you enter this room, and then you want to tell Fran and Vaughn attack the zombie, and Balfir will try to steal from him. The most notable steal from the zombie is the Killing Weave shirt that we would like to actually use as a piece of mystic armor for characters later on. But yeah, you need to attack twice with both Fran and Vaughn. Sometimes the zombie can use a lot of stuff, which is why you want to kill it first. He can use Poison Touch to poison you, and I think his regular attacks have a slight chance of poisoning you, and poison is annoying. Also, he can use moves called Leech, which heals him a little bit, and Protect, which makes your attacks do less damage. If he does either of those, there's a chance that he doesn't die after 2 rounds, in which case you just have to wait for a 3rd round. You have to do a 3rd round of attacks, and it will waste a little bit of time. So now the battery mimics. The battery mimics, like instantly after you kill him, just tell Fran to attack the battery mimic and Vaughn as well. And the first threat for killing battery mimics is to do 1 attack with Fran and Vaughn, and then 1 blizzard with both Fran and Vaughn after the attacks go off. And Balfir will steal in the meantime. So first attacks, then blizzards. And you can steal iron scraps are the best steals they have. It sells for like 185 gil or something. So it's something, it's not the best thing in the world, but it's a decent item, and they start adding up. Like once you get like 5 or so of them, it's already almost 1,000 gil. There's a chest here. This one it's a decent chest, but my gil is so good in this run, I skipped it. But definitely you can go for this chest. It's either Phoenix Down or Antidote. It doesn't waste much time, and it's actually a decent chest, so... Like the Phoenix Down is nice. And then you skip the battery mimic in the second battery mimic in the previous room, but then you kill this one at the same way you killed the first one. And Fran got a crit there. A notable thing about this battery mimic is that sometimes he will use charge after Fran's attack goes off. And if that happens, you should tell Balfir to attack after Balfir has done the first steal. And then Balfir will finish it off with the attack. Maybe with the help of Bosch. And actually, these battery mimics, it's worth picking up the drops. The first 2 battery mimics didn't drop anything for me, so I obviously didn't go back for the drops. But you should switch your party leader to a character that's close to where the battery mimic died. Then this battery mimic will run away too fast for you to kill him, so you just steal from that guy. Tell both Balfir and Fran steal to get the second attempt if the first one fails. And then behind this corner over there, like over there, there's a chest that can contain a remedy, which also could be picked up if you're low on gil. That chest is not that great either. But yeah, and here's another battery mimic that will run away, and so just don't bother with it other than stealing. And you can see those iron scraps start to adding up. And here is a flan. Flans are weak to fire. Like, battery mimics were weak to blizzard, so we used blizzard on them. That's why we bought the blizzard. And then we get flans again, and flans are weak to fire, so kill them with fire. And flans are weak enough that they die just of 2 fires. And here you should do a menu where you license white magic 1, black magic 1 to Balfir. And accessories 1. But remember that Gigantode I skipped accidentally? I was 1 LP short because of that. Which is fine. If I had realized I had missed it, I could just kill this flan and do the menu after this flan. But I forgot. I didn't realize I forgot to kill it, so I was 1 LP short. And also, you want to have access to Balfir. You want to have access to Balfir's blizzard at this point, so that's why you kind of want to. Get the LP from Amalia earlier, or from the guard fight. All the LP you can get from the guard fight earlier. If you miss a kill, you can either kill another enemy, either battery mimic or tiny mimic. Tiny mimic should be killed with single attacks. Like 1 round of attacks should be enough to kill a tiny mimic, so you don't waste MP. Or you can kill the second battery mimic the same way you did the first ones. Or the third way is just to skip doing the menu until after the next battery mimic, and kill that battery mimic the same way you killed the first 2 battery mimics. Those are your options. You can pick whatever you want out of those. So yeah, now that that guy is dead, I'm actually completing the license. But yeah, that's another mistake I made. And then tell Balfir to blizzard the battery mimic, and tell the other characters as well after you've picked up the chest that I picked up. That could be a potion or phoenix down. I didn't even realize which one I got, but whatever. It's not important. Important thing is that you kill this flan with fire though. And then here you can see me going after a drop. The flan drops are actually better than the mimic drops, so definitely go after those. But the mimic drops as well, I think it's worth it to go after them. Because the mimics have a 1% chance of dropping a mage's habit, which is 1250 gil, and if you get that chest, or if you get that drop, then it's definitely a good thing. It's definitely like worth it. But it's only a 1% chance, so it's very unlikely. So that chest, I just killed at the start of this screen, I killed a battery. I guess I could show you again. Starting with Blizzards. Fran first, then Vaughn, then Balthier. That's how I do it. It matters a little bit, but not too much which order you do them. And then you switch back to Vaughn here, and the first aid, another mistake I made. Wow, this Barheim was awkward. It was still a pretty good time because I didn't get those drops early on, so I didn't have to go back for them, if I recall correctly. But yeah, kill that Flan with fire, and another triple Blizzard. Another triple Blizzard. This one I like to starting with Fran, even though she's not my party leader. But that's so that Fran will get back. Like there's 2 more Flans in this zone, and you want to have Fran get back there as soon as possible. So it's Blizzard with Fran, Vaughn, and Balthier, and then setting cursor to fire, and moving on to the next set of Flans. So these Flans are a little bit technical. I guess I failed to mention the previous Flan, which was Steel with Vaughn, and then fire with both Balthier and Fran. Here, the first Flan is fire with Vaughn, then run back so you can access a Fran as soon as she gets close enough to you, and tell her to steal as soon as possible, and then tell Balthier to use fire to finish it off, and then tell Vaughn to steal from the other guy, and tell both Balthier and Fran to steal or use fire to kill the last Flan. And yeah, the green liquids are pretty valuable. They are like more than 200 gil each. And here, now MP doesn't matter anymore. Like, until this point, there was a lot of MP management going on, which you can do just like using spells with the characters I did. But after this, MP doesn't really matter. At least for this part, MP doesn't matter because I'm going to touch the save crystal soon anyway. But yeah, so I cured Vaughn with Balthier just to be safe. Like, I don't think Vaughn would have died unless the next Battery Mimic comboed Vaughn or something. But it's still something I didn't cost any time, so why not? And then triple Blizzarding the last Battery Mimic. Again, it didn't drop anything, but oh well. And then these cutscene skips. So these are perhaps the most difficult cutscene skips in the game. If you are not prepared for them, that is. So there's 3 cutscene skips, and there's 7-second rule does not apply here. I believe this is the only cutscene where you have to wait longer than 7 seconds until you can skip it, and until you are safe to start mashing. And both these cutscenes that are coming up are cutscenes where you have to, there's like no time for mashing. Like it goes from straight to where if you press start, you pause the game and you can't skip it, to where you can skip the cutscene. So there's no like mashing time. So you have to, and there's like no cues really. So you just have to, I guess, count time. That's what I do. So what I do is I count 5 seconds for the first cutscene skip, and then 10.5 seconds for the second cutscene skip. If you want to, you can go for 11 for the second if you don't want to mess with the half second. But the timer, the splitting program you're using is usually pretty convenient. Or if you have a clock that gives you a noise every second or something like that. Whatever. But it's about 5 seconds and then 10.5 seconds. So these are some cutscenes to keep in mind. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.5. There's the cutscene skip. So yeah, that's pretty precise. But that's the worst cutscene skip there is in the run. And because it's so early, and because it's so precise, you usually remember it. So it's one that at least I don't tend to not mess it up anymore. And that chest you just saw me pick up, that could have been a leather helm, which sells for 250 gil. It's pretty uncommon to get from it though, so but it's so close, you might as well pick it up. And now Bosch has gotten his sword, so now 2 blizzards and an attack from Bosch damage roll to kill these battery mimics. So you don't have to use Balfier's blizzards or any extra attacks from Van and Fran anymore. So it's sometimes 1 attack, sometimes 2 attacks from Bosch, but just use blizzard with Van and Fran and Balfier will steal again. And I got the damage roll there, and then picked up the chest, or picked up the loot. And here immediately start spamming blizzard. There's a barrier mimic you want to kill there. And there, that was a damage roll, so I waited a little bit. Actually, let's go back again. Because there's a couple of things I want to talk about here. So first of all, this chest over here. That one can contain an ether. And so if you're new, you might want to pick it up. There's also a couple of chests here and here that you can pick up if you're really bad on money or if you want to be really safe. And I think one of them can be an ether as well. So there's those chests. And then there's this chest over here, which I also recommend picking up almost every time. I think I skipped it in this one though, because my money was pretty good. And this battery mimic, it can either run away to the next place where it charges, or it can start attacking you. If it starts attacking you, then you should kill it right away. If he goes away, then you have to delay your blizzard at least until he stops. So, because otherwise he will charge. And actually here you see me failing this one. So this is what you should do. You should only cast blizzard once he actually stops, because otherwise he will heal full. I had to use an extra blizzard because of that, so one is a little bit low on HP. Here's also a chest you can pick up if you want to, but I think that chest is way not worth it, and don't pick it up. Just don't. It can contain the self gambit. Also, you can steal from this last battery mimic like you did from those that ran away. You don't want to kill it because of MP. You want to skip touching the save crystal. Also, there's a chest I forgot to mention. There can be another chest over here. It's usually not worth it, but you can go for it if you're low on gil. It's a high potion, maybe. It's very close, but it's super not worth it, usually. But it's a little bit of extra gil if you really need it. Then Mimic Queen. You want to have everyone's gambits off, so turn off Balfier's stealing gambit. And Mimic Queen will instantly target Vaughn almost every time. So you have Vaughn as your leader. You can have anyone as your leader, it doesn't really matter. My route just ends up having Vaughn as the leader. And you run back and use Blizzard on Mimic Queen with everyone. Blizzard Mimic Queen is not always the default target. So you want to watch out for that so that you don't target the tiny batteries. If you do, Bosch might start targeting them, and that will get messy. If Bosch starts targeting tiny batteries, I would just flee, and then try again, and then like target the Mimic Queen actually, because otherwise Bosch might get stuck, and that's annoying. Bosch actually deals some damage. That's pretty important. Anyway, you want to go there. You want to face the other way, because otherwise this fight will lag a little bit. And once everyone's first Blizzard is landed, and you have told everyone to cast Blizzard again, assuming you were fast enough, you can do this before they start casting the second Blizzard. And what you want to do is you need to do this menu at some point before the next shop. And you want to do it at the time where ATB resets your characters, because that's the only way it would save any time. So at the point when you have casted all three Blizzards, or all three Blizzards have hit Mimic Queen, and and you have told all three characters to cast Blizzard again, and none of them has started charging, that's the time when you're supposed to do this menu. And this menu is very simple. You just remove everyone's equipment. You can do this as soon as possible, like I'm doing here, because these don't affect your damage in any way whatsoever. And if you do this correctly, Mimic Queen is stuck targeting Vaughn for now, and will do nothing to Bosch. You can turn on Vaughn and Balfir's Gambits, because they're gonna need it. And what I did there is I checked how many Phoenix Downs I have, so I know exactly how much money I need for the next shop. Because as I mentioned earlier, you need to get 39 Phoenix Downs. So because I had 3, I only need 36 more. Also, one thing to note here is that you can see my MP was really tight. 0 MP on both Vaughn and Balthier. You might have to burn some steps, or not burn some steps, but run around in circles to gain more MP during this fight. Like, again, Blizzard is 8 MP, so 40 or 48. 40 is 5 Blizzards, which is usually enough. But if something weird happens, like Bosch gets targeted, then you might want to run around in circles enough that you can cast the 6th Blizzard at 48 MP. And so yeah, just do that if you need to. You could just run around in circles the whole fight if you want. If you don't want to pay attention to your MP, it doesn't matter. Anyway, here's another unskippable cutscene. And then we get to the map. You can exit the map by pressing circle, and then you run to Nalbina. And we run to Nalbina because we need to activate the teleport crystal of Nalbina. So teleport crystals, you need to touch them before you can use them, with the exception of the Rabanastra crystal that you can always teleport to. So even though we haven't touched the Rabanastra teleport crystal, we can still teleport there. Yeah, this is the fastest way to Nalbina. Esther Sand Crystal would be tad closer, but we then never need to go back to Esther Sand, so it's better to go to Nalbina. Yeah, here's another chest in that corner. There can be a chest that can contain a Phoenix Down that you can also pick up if you're low on money. You wouldn't know. You probably won't be keeping track of your money at this point. It's even I don't do it, but it's something you have to like estimate if you have enough money or not. And then the sell menu. So again, keep teleport stones. Because I got the extra teleport stone, I technically can sell the teleport stone. Oh, sorry, excuse me. I thought I muted my mic for that. Sell all the loot. None of the loot is important except for the teleport stones. Then sell all weapons. You can, if you have a flame staff, you can try to keep it. Like I keep the flame staff because you want to eventually have 2 flame staves as weapons. So I decided that my money might be good enough that I can maybe keep the flame staff to ensure that I have at least 1. Otherwise, I would have to buy them later for 2400 gil, which is not fun. But typically you get more from Dustia too, but not always, which is why it's sometimes good to try. But if you know your gil is bad, you just sell it automatically. But I was trying to keep it. Leather shield, you sell the headgear. So I guess I should mention the things you want to keep, which are the leather cap, leather clothing, and the light woven shirt. Those you must keep. Well, in some cases you can sell the leather cap, but the other 2 should be kept at all times, unless your run depends on selling those 2 items. Like those 2 items are the last resort. Leather cap should go first. Let's put it that way. There's also, you might get a top cappy hat, or the light woven shirt, or not, the killing weave shirt, as I mentioned earlier. Top cappy hat is a 10%, or no, it's a 3% drop from the flans in Barheim. And the killing weave shirt is a 10% steal from the zombie. So those are things you might have. But you typically don't. But if you have them, try to keep them, but they can be sold. More you would want to sell them rather than the flame staff, for example. So if they can keep you from selling the flame staff, then you can sell them. And if they can keep you from selling like the leather cap, clothing, or shirt, sell them. They sell for 250 gil each, if I didn't mention. Sell all accessories. Except for the goddess Semastulite that you can't sell. At this point, I think I decided that I have to sell the flame staff. Yep. And then you can sell the. You should sell the ammunition last because that exits you from the menu. The ammunition sells for 100 gil total, so typically you. Typically you would it doesn't make a difference. Just look at the gil, and when you are less than 100 gil away from what you need to be, then then switch to ammunition and sell it. So yeah, right. My total gil goal is 9k because I had the 2 because I had 3 Phoenix Downs. So I like to keep 2 potions. It's not completely necessary, and especially you can sell 1 more. But I like to keep 2. Now I'm actually... you can also sell the elixir, but you'd like to keep the elixir, but usually it's 777 gil, so it's a lot of gil at this point. So if you have to, then sell it. But yeah, I sold that stuff and then the ammunition last. And then then I bought the Phoenix Downs. And my guild goal was, yeah, I said it was 9k. And then once you have done the shopping, then you teleport to Remonaster. There's immediately a cutscene skip after the teleport. And then you get a notification that people leave your party. And because they leave your party, you need to... So, as I mentioned earlier, Dustia 1 was done so that Balthier and Fran would join your party at level 12. Level 12 is important. It must not be 13. You can kill 9 Dustia 1 and still have a Vaughn to be level 11 so that Balthier and Fran will be level 12. It's recommended not to, but you can if you want to. But if you kill 10 Dustia, then Balthier and Fran will be level... Or Vaughn will get to level 12 and Balthier and Fran will be level 13. And you really need Balthier to be level 12 for later. I will explain it when we get there. But now everyone's left our party. Balthier and Fran's levels stay as they were when they leave. So this Dustia farming will set the level for the rest of the party members, which will be the main party for a specific reason, which is that they join at this point, or later than this point, rather. So here is Westerstand. You can see that I'm running to the further, so like I'm not running to the same place I was running at Dustia 1. I will explain that shortly, but I will first explain the way there. So there's this wolf that you see is following me. Actually, in this case, I would want him to lunge me, or I would have wanted him to lunge me, because that way I could just... you typically want to grit down with your spells as they are stronger, but 2 spells isn't not quite enough to bring Vaughn to level, or bring down to low enough HP. But if the wolf lunges you, then 2 spells will be enough. And at this point I'm saying 2 spells, but you can see that there's a weather effect here. Like there can be 3 different weather in Westersand. You can see that the sky is blue, so sky is blue and it's very bright, so it's sunny weather. And in sunny weather there are no... neither blizzard or fire gets a boost in damage. But if it was cloudy, or in Cloudy's case the sky would be gray and it would be a little bit darker. You could still see shadows like this, but they would not be as clear as they are here. Or it could be sandstorm, which is pretty obvious what it looks like. And in those cases, you have to be a little bit careful, because fire damage is boosted. Actually, I can just show you the table I have. I forget about it. So here is the table I'm talking about. And these are the max damage rolls. So if you want to copy them on your notes or whatever, you can. These are the maximum damage rolls. And armor means that you don't have the armor on for attack. And no armor means that you don't have the body armor for attack. And helm for these magics. And same thing here, it means that you don't have the helm for that you have the helm for magics. And why it says fire here is because fire is 20%. Fire has 20% boost in fire has 20% boost in both Sandstorm and Cloudy. So you can see that the max damage roll is higher. And actually, typically, Blizzard and a boosted fire is like doing one Blizzard and one fire is typically enough to kill, or not kill, but to crit down Vaughn. You have to be a little bit careful because it can also kill, especially if the wolf lunges you. If the wolf lunges you, then you should just do 2 blizzards. Or if it's the sunny weather, you can do 2 fires, because fire is same as blizzard, but has a shorter animation, so it's slightly faster to use fire than blizzard. And here you can see the rest of my sheet. This is what I use to calculate my Dustia gil. I keep this updated while I run, so that just calculates me how much gil I have. And here I gather how much of each items I have. So like potions, high potions, ethers, elixirs. This is both eye drops and antidotes combined, and alarm clocks if you happen to get those. This is remedies, and this is fangs, and this is times 10, times 200, times 25, times 777, times 111, times 105, times 100, or times 35. And then they get added together, and this number is reduced here. This is the total amount of gil I need from Dustia 2, and here it calculates how much gil I have from these items I can sell, which are quote-unquote extra items. And then if I get the elixir, and I think like this is just 1000 gil because I also add like Tomash gil or something to this. And then this is old stuff. This was like what I used to what was my threshold to farming all rounds, but we don't do that anymore, so I will not explain that anymore. But there's Demon Wall. This is how much kill you need to go to the clan. If you go to Clan Hall by after killing the first Demon Wall, that's how much money I need. And this is how much money you would need if you didn't kill Demon Wall 1 but just skipped Traveler. So, and this is like this is minus the gil amount. Then elixir is this is just minus 1000. And this one I don't care. This is minus 6388 because that's how much gil you get from Clan Hall. And this is minus 6700. But yeah, that's what oh, whoops. That's another look to behind scenes. We will get back to this sheet later. But for now, let's get back to let's get back to the thing. Okay, so Okay. So I hope you found that interesting. So yeah, now yeah, fire one twice because it's sunny weather, and then as you can see, it was not enough, so I had to do an attack. And as you can see, I have 58 HP, and the table I had said I need 57 is enough without armor, so I'm safe here to use this one attack. And here I make another mistake. I switch my battle speed to slowest, and this is something I've been doing recently a lot. I don't understand. I never did it before, and now like I've done it more often than I haven't in the last like couple of weeks. I don't know why I'm doing it, but what you should do is you should turn it down by just 2. Uh, on Dustia 1 we do it all the way because you have to manually use your Phoenix Downs, and that way even if you mess up you can fix it. But here you have gambits to do the gambits we set all the way back at the start of Garam Scythe was the gambit for Dustia farming. We never used Vaughn's gambits in Garam Scythe from Barheim. So here is so here the gambit actually gets used, and you should turn the battle speed to 4 there, but I messed up. And then you want to optimize Vaughn. This is important for 2 reasons. First, it stops the combo again, as it did in Dustia 1. It's an ATB reset. And second, you really need the armor on, because later on you usually get healed during Dustia from the chain bonuses, which I will be talking about later. But and then you can you have to hit yourself down again, and otherwise you might kill yourself if you don't have the armor. That's why it's extremely important that you keep the armor in the shop. Okay, so now it's just killing 39 Dustia, and I actually want to speed this up. Okay, that's a little bit too much. Can I? Okay, so this is sped up a little bit. So I'm talking about Dustia while having this a little bit sped up, and so Dustia 2 is done in this zone because the loading time is faster in this zone than between this zone and the other zone than it is in this zone because it's faster the loads. So when you kill 39 Dustia, it adds up enough that it's worth running here, even though it takes a little bit of time. But it's still overall like 45 seconds faster to do it here than doing it in the old zone, or the Dustia 2 zone. I know after 39 is finished from the chain, when it says 39, I have it. Also, 39 is a specific number in that it brings Vaughn to level 20. So even though we do a lot more Dustia at Dustia 2, we get less levels. But yeah, the chain. So in Dustia 2, we kill enough Dustia to get chain up. And after certain points, the chain, you start getting more drops. Or the chain levels make you get more drops, and the more you have killed makes them to be better, makes the drops themselves to be better. So like you can start having 4 books from one, or 2 books from one drop, 3 books from one drop, 4 books from one drop, and stuff like that. And that comes with the chain number, and the chain level tells you how often you actually get the drops. Yeah, there's just killing Dustia. And when you get to later chain levels, when you pick up drops, you might get healed. I will talk about heals more when I get them, but there you could see me getting shell, and shell doesn't really matter. But protect might matter. You can get shell, protect, you can get HP heals or MP heals. So when you get healed, you get 10% of your maximum HP healed, so you will always be above 10% because you always had at least 1 HP before you started. Or otherwise you would be dead. And I should also talk about this Dustia, because this Dustia is this Dustia farm is much tighter, as you are a lot further away from the zone line as you are on Dustia 1. So you have less time to get out of the zone. And that makes it so that, for example, on the PAL version of the game, I wouldn't try to use this Dustia zone, because it's just way too tight. And if you don't leave fast enough, Dustia will despawn and will not respawn again unless you run to another zone. Also, sometimes enemies will follow you to the zone line, and what you can do then is you can flee when you exit the zone, and then you can if you flee while you exit the zone and keep the R2 button held down, you can sorry, I'm losing my words here. Oh yeah, you will when you appear on the other side, you will still be fleeing, and then you can get back to the Dustia zone without the enemies hitting you. Usually they walk away even if they follow you. But yeah, here I got healed. So what you want to do is get back to the Dustia zone and tell Vaughn to punch himself. Here I have the slowest battle speed by accident, so I have to wait a little bit longer before I start fleeing. But when you punch yourself, wait until your ATB bar is at around these T's on attack, and then start fleeing, and that will make it so that you will flee. You will see it here. The fleeing will start after the animation or attack goes into action, but before a combo would start. And doing this cancels any possible combos that there would be. So you can't. This is a way to prevent you from comboing yourself to death. Because as you can see, I hit for 48 damage. If I had done another attack, one would have died. Also, you could see that Dustia wasn't respawning, but as soon as I got back to below 10% of 10% of your maximum, or of my maximum HP, then Dustia spawned again. And yeah, after 27, we start getting the highest tier of drops, and it's possible to get even 4 of the same item. in the same drop. And yeah, the chain levels make the items like come more often. It doesn't affect the how many of them you get at all. There I switched my battle speed to back to where it was. And there you can see a flea again. And yeah, just killing more Dustia until 39. What have I not mentioned about Dustia? You really want to get 2 flame staves, because you want to use them as your weapons. Again, Buka for Gain is 532 gil and Flame Staff is 1200 gil. But the first 2 Flame Staves save 2400 gil because you would otherwise you have to buy Flame Staves. And yeah. I feel like I'm missing something important, but I'm forgetting what it is. Oh yeah, at the shop, that was before Dustia, you'd kind of want to get more than 39 Phoenix Downs, because you also want to have Phoenix Downs for safety for the next fight. If you don't have at least 2 Phoenix Downs, I would recommend buying 2 Phoenix Downs from a shop. I will point out later. I will actually probably do it in this run, because I don't think I had 49. So here, final kill of Dustia. Instead of going to the zone directly to the zone line, I walk a little bit. I walk here because I really want to run that way when I leave the zone. But as you can see, that Earthstrike is really close, and I have very low HP. So what I do is I always judge the situation on whether I use a potion to heal or not. If you're unsure, potion, feel free. That's what the potions are for. But it will lose it will waste a little bit of time. And how I judge it is I look at the Earthstrix, and if the Earthstrix is casting Protect, like he is now, it's safe to run past him. Or if you see he starts readying Protect, usually he's not that close, and he will only start casting Protect later. Like, casting Protect later, so I kind of like wait a little bit, like until I wait for the Phoenix Down cooldown to end, so I can flee and get out of the battle stance, and then usually the Earthstrix will start readying Protect, and then I can just run past. But if he doesn't cast Protect, or he casts Protect very early, then I have to potion. But here the Earthstrix was so close that even though he did the Protect very early, I was able to get past him before he was able to get an attack off me. But if the Earthstrix hits you, you're dead if you don't use the potion. Usually. Like, he can hit for like 80 damage or something. You can also get by if you get a heal from the last drop, which is really nice. There are also these cockatrices. but they usually take too long to ever even have a chance of attacking me. And they don't deal as much damage as the Earthstrix. I think they deal like max about 50 damage. Maybe 40 something. But as you can see, they still haven't targeted me. Or he still hasn't targeted me, even though I'm already way past him. And he actually this time he actually never did target me. But yeah, that was just And then there's only Hero Wolf left. Is Wolf over here? At this point, 36 HP is enough that even if he uses lunge, I would survive. If you have less than 20 HP though, I would use a cure. Because you have cure at this point. I wouldn't use cure before the Earthstrix is. Because it takes time to charge, whereas potion is instant. But if you're there and you're very low on HP, you can use cure instead and save a potion. It's about the same time because you can run while the cure is charging, but oh well. And here I make another mistake. I was supposed to go to the Moogling, and I run up to here, and then I realized that, wait a second, this is not what I was supposed to do, and then run back to the Moogling. But you're supposed to go straight to the Moogling and Moogle the Southgate. And oh, I guess I didn't mention earlier before Dustia, but you also Moogle before Dustia, and that one is Westgate. And at the beginning of this run, every time you Moogle, you pick up the bottom choice, which is 2 up from the top, because there's also like cancel between or something. So both these times you have picked up the lowest option. But yeah, here's the last visit to Dalan, and this time we move forward with the left analog stick, and then we go back, and instead of going north here, we go this way instead, because the story tells us to go to talk to Bolzak, and that way Bosch, and when you talk to him, like, there's cutscenes and Bosch joins your party. Oh yeah, I should also add to the 7-second rule also applies here, but there's an addition to 7-second rule that I didn't mention before, and it's whenever you hear music, or whenever you start hearing music, it is always safe to start mashing, even if the 7 seconds hasn't passed. If you start hearing the game audio, then you know you can safely mash. But yeah, Bosch joins your party, so that's why we did Dustia there. Now Bosch joined the party at level 22, whereas Juan is now level 20. And Fran and Balfir will also join us very shortly. And they will join at level 12, as they were when you left them. But yeah, here's another cutscene skip after getting out of Lowtown. And then to Sensi. And here, if you don't get if you don't have 3 teleport stones, so if you didn't get the steal from, if you didn't get a teleport steal from Pat, there's a guy called Tomash in here. He spawns right next to a black banga, and you have to wait for them both to, or you have to wait for Tomash to appear, But you can go and block the Banga because it's easy to accidentally talk to the Banga instead of Tomash. So you can actually go where the Banga stands. Unfortunately, I can't show it right here, but if you watch my other runs, you can see it. But you can like run where he's standing, and so blocking him from spawning, and then talk to Tomash, so you don't accidentally talk to the Banga. That's a small trick that I've recently realized. But yeah, you get there, you get Balthier and Fran, and then you leave. But as I said, if you don't get the 10% teleport stone drop, also talk to Tomash. It gives you 300 gil, 2 potions, and the teleport stone. And then I accidentally pressed X1 too many times and teleported to the wrong place. Again, I should have picked up the bottom option, but I picked up the top option instead. So yeah, I was supposed to Moogle the West Gate, so that was another time loss. And that one is actually pretty significant, whereas my earlier time wastes have been very minor. That mistake was my most costly mistake so far, and that one was about 15 seconds. Then you get to these cutscene skips, and this is something where 7-second rule does not work, because the second cutscene after this, there's a first cutscene, like it's always fine, but the second cutscene is like 3 seconds after the first one. Oh, there was a good example of what the screen looks. This is the screen I'm talking about, where you just pause the game and nothing happens. I'm guessing I skipped the second cutscene without me realizing it, but there was 2 cutscenes. And then after the second cutscene, the 7-second rule holds again, but it doesn't hold for the cutscene because that cutscene is very fast. There are a couple of cutscenes like that. So here's another cutscene. It gets skipped. And then we run to Lusu Mines, and there's not really much interesting to say about the Lusu Mines. Well, I guess there are a couple of things. We have a hotkey to speed this up. That would be nice. Page plus. Yeah, this is the way to... So, I don't know how to... let me see. Doesn't seem like I have a key to make it back normal, but whatever. Oh, I guess that works. Okay, so... So here, I do a little bit of a shop. This shop you should skip if you had 2 extra Phoenix Downs or more. So here, you want to sell, if you do this shop, you can sell your items here, or your Dustia loot. which is all but keep 2 staves but sell all other staves. So I had 1 staff and 29 books of gain, which is not the greatest, but then you want to also buy the Phoenix Downs. And one thing about the guild is what I didn't mention this, but both Dustia 1 and Dustia 2, when you kill Dustia, you can get multiple drops, like you can get both books and staves at the same drop. And because you zone out so fast, you don't necessarily see both books and staves. So you zone out, it always shows books first. So you might have some staves that you never see. And those are what we refer to as hidden staves. And yeah, they are always a nice surprise. Yeah, let's speed it up again because there's really nothing important in Lusu Mines other than just optimal movement. I guess I could talk about knockbacks while I'm running past enemies. So whenever enemies hit you, there's a chance that you knock back. Also, the battle speed is here still on not the fastest, but on stage 4. So that's also helps not getting hit by the enemies. Not that it's really important. But yeah, it's a thing. Also, I just passed a chest that could have been there. I guess I could go back. This speed is too fast for me. But about here, somewhere along this, like it's right. It's if you hug at the wall, you won't miss it. But there's a chest that can spawn that can contain a killer bow, and if you get the killer bow, it's 1000 extra gil, so that's nice. So you should pick that chest up if it spawns. But yeah, knockbacks make you. Oh wait, no. Battle speed. Battle speed is low, so it's not the fastest, so it makes it a little bit it makes the enemies hit you less usually. Like it usually doesn't make a really difference because usually the only things that hit you are instants anyway, and battle speed doesn't affect instants. And they will get them off whether you had your battle speed on slowest or not. But if you get knockbacks, then the enemies might catch up on you, and then they might get hits off. And here's another chest. It can contain an assassin's dagger, which is 700 extra gil you can get. So that's about it for Lusu Mines. Then you just go there and you run away. That's what you have to do. It's a little bit of boring part of the run. But yeah, knockbacks are the enemies when they hit you, they have a chance of knocking you back, and knockbacks they waste time, and also they can lead to trouble if other enemies can hit you because of that as well. Because it slows you down a little bit. So I think I'll do the shouting minigame in this one, and then I'll take another break. Or make it another part. Here's another cutscene skip, and yeah. Just flee. Also make sure that Vaughn's gambits are off for this area, because otherwise you might accidentally throw a Phoenix down on one of those skeletons. And here you want to make sure that your cursor is on fire, and the reason for that will be explained in the next part. Yeah, here's another cutscene skip. And then another unskippable cutscene that explains the shouting minigame. I'm skipping that, and then we'll do the shouting minigame. So you have this notoriety bar, and you fill it up by using Testify, which is square, and you have to shout near those guys with books. I will point them out once we see the first one. And so it is possible to do this in 2 shouts, but if you fail the 2 shout, it might lead to more shouts. I don't know, but this is one of the guys with the books, and you want with the first shout you want also to get this lady. You want to be close enough, so shouting around here is preferable. It gets both the guy and the lady, and you're heading to the right next, so that's kind of ideal. So the next shout you will go for the bar, and in there you can finish this off with just 1 shout in the bar. But the placement for it is very specific. And I think I got it. I don't remember exactly. But the goal is to get this guy, and this guy all at the same time. And all 3 of them give a lot of notoriety. Like usually normal people give you only 1 or 2. You typically get this guy and this Moogle in the process if you get this right. But if you fail this, you typically miss the Moogle, and then it's a little bit awkward. You might the next shout. Like I have a feeling that if you get multiple guys at the same time, it gives you like a bonus for each. It might give you like a bonus, like extra 2 points for, or extra 1 point of notoriety for X amount of people, but I don't know. Anyway, you can see if you got them by whether they turn to look at you. Like this person turned a little bit. This guy will turn his head or turn around, and this guy will turn his head like sideways, like he's standing like this, and then he will do like this. But you can't see it now because I did not get this guy. So I'm a little bit too much to the left here. So you should be a little bit more to the right. Like Vaughn's left leg should be about at the corner of that red mat here. But you can't be too far up. Like I think it's like a couple of pixels or frames or whatever to the right from here. Like this is very close to being a 2 shout. And then I just finish it. If you fail this, you just get here and finish it off by getting these 2 guys. And that's the shouting minigame. And now it's time for another break, I think. So yeah, if you, I'll see you in the next episode or part or whatever you want to call them.